Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Happy Sunday, July 12th. It is a great day up here. We are having some amazing hot weather. I have the dream pool down by Miami in the background. I would love to be traveling right now and not be stuck at home. And I want to tell you guys I have started running again. I'm trying to get rid of that COVID weight. It is a bit of a struggle with my sacroiliac joint that is injured. But if you guys are new to my channel, please go ahead and like the video, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you can always get great videos like this when I do go live, and I do my watch list and my live streams on Mondays and Fridays with Ticker Talker TV. So let's go ahead and get into it. But first, I do have a question for you. Would you guys like to see a day trader's desk workout? What I tend to do at my desk when I'm working out? Let me know in the comments or in the chat, or if there's anything else you guys want to see. I do have a list of things people have asked me for, and just some ideas that I've thought about as well that I'm curious if you guys would like to see. So good afternoon, Fausto. Hope you're having a great one. All right, so let's go ahead and change it on over. So we've got the SPY with us. And as always, if you guys do have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat or in the comments below. If it's a question I can answer in a video, I will try to do that for you. And also a disclaimer, I did have my Series 7 20 years ago. However, it is no longer current, so please do your own due diligence. There are varying degrees of risk in trading all securities instruments, and no past performance is indicative of future performance. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get rid of some of these lines. These are some pivots on here. So we'll go ahead and we will hide those. And you can see, hey, what happened with the SPY? Well, the SPY, we broke out from this little channel that we had set up over the week. And this is a 9-minute chart. I started playing around with a 9-minute chart to see if I like it, and I think that I do. So went ahead, broke out, and ran to the upside up to 318. Now let's go ahead and look at it on our daily chart, right? So you guys know I do this watch list every week. On the daily chart, it looks like potentially up here 318.40. Well, we'll be going into the next day. Maybe 318.70 area. We might find resistance. And next week is going to be pretty crazy. Let me go ahead and pull it up over here. Earnings Whisper. Maybe it's even better on Twitter. Let's go quickly. So if you guys don't already follow me on Twitter, I am on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, pretty much anywhere and everywhere. Also on Twitch on Mondays and Fridays. So here, let's go to Earnings Whisper. We do have the beginning of earnings season coming up, which is going to be pretty crazy. So this is what we have going on. We've got Pepsi on Monday. We've got a bunch of the banks, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, Fastenal, and we have Goldman Sachs, PNC, US Bank Corp, I forget what it is, Mellon, Infosys, Alcoa, Sleep Number's a newer one. Netflix is coming up, and Netflix ripped into that close on Friday. So that might have some nice pre-earnings run to it. We have Charles Schwab, Abbott Laboratories. So a lot of great ones coming up. I think Bank of America is on Friday as well. We do have Bank of America next week as well. So looking at all of these, it's going to be a volatile week. This, in my opinion, is a better time to go ahead and day trade. Oh, Bank of America on Thursday. My bad. It's right there below Domino's. So it's a better time to go ahead and day trade because you don't want to be caught in earnings going the wrong way and you have a massive loss, whether it's in an option or in the stock. It's more gambling when you're holding it overnight. So let's go back to the SPY. Yeah, so we could come up here. We could definitely, we're in a breakout right at the moment. We could come and potentially test up here to the 319, or we might just test right here. So it might go ahead, we might open up here, and then we might come back down and maybe come down. We'll see, right? That might happen over the week. When we look at it on the weekly chart, right now I am bullish. The seasonality for the SPY is bullish right now. On our weekly chart, we're above the moving averages. Hey, let's go ahead and throw an alert right here at 320.25. That's going to be a good price for me to watch. If we do get above that, it would likely test 323, and then we've got a gap to fill from 323 on up to 333. Do you guys think we're going to see 340? We might, right? Another thought is on the weekly, we're right there. We could pull back. We could go ahead. We could do this. We could come back to, oh, I don't want to pull that. We could come down, and then we could shoot up higher. So we'll see where the market's going to take it, but be nimble. Go ahead and trade the volume. Go with the trend for the day and try to stay productive that way. All right, let's go ahead. That's my watch list I had for the week. So I know somebody had actually put on Twitter that they wanted to see about Tesla. I'm going to go ahead and put my two favorites that I love to talk about as well, Microsoft and Apple, because they really affect the market. And then we'll go ahead and pull up the watch list. So here's my watch list right here. PSMT, SJR, SUP, GBX, Netflix, CULP, HTHT, JCOM, HRB, and XRT. So we'll put those, type them in really quickly, and then we'll start talking about them. GBX, Netflix. And you guys know I do look at, oops, I totally misspelled that. I do look at the short volume, and it's been crazy. People are shorting the indexes, yet they have confidence in the stocks. So people are buying the stocks, and I feel like it's more the newbies potentially in the trading world that are going short the indexes, and then they're getting squeezed. So to me, it's feeling extra bullish because of the short squeeze potential. We saw it happen on Tesla. We're seeing it happen on NIO. I just typed it in, right? So when the shorts get stubborn, it can create massive moves to the upside, parabolic moves. So just like this, everybody was shorting, right? Thinking, hey, this market's going to go down, this market's going to go down. And what happened? They went ahead and they took it higher and they shorted it, right? So we could come up, we could test up here to the upper range, yeah, 323.40. We might see a test of that area. So let's look at the Qs. Qs has been breaking out. A lot of tech stocks are doing super well because everybody's at home, and that's what NASDAQ is all about. It's all about the tech stocks as well. When we go back here, we're looking, just if we were to look at it, what happened, right? Well, we were we at the end of the earnings season? I think we were just ending earnings season right here. And then we went ahead and we plummeted down and then started coming back up to the upside. But for a long time, it was looking really overbought, and it just went sideways. We had that one day higher pop up, then they took it lower, closed it lower right here, and then meltdown city, right? So be prepared. Is it going to be that scream higher, right? Let's go ahead and draw a trend line to the upside right here. So we've gone ahead and we broke above right there on this day. And if we go ahead and we bring it further back, let's go from the peak here. Let's go here. So are we going to pull back, right? When we're drawing these trend lines, is it going to go ahead and pull back? Where's our next stop from here? Well, it's looking pretty nice, right? How crazy could it be if we see 300s for the Qs, right? For NASDAQ. I think it could be possible, for sure. Let's go to our weekly chart and see as well back here. When we're looking at it, we're looking at the, let's go ahead and extend this to the right or left. Let's do this over here. No, that's not one really. Kind of acted as resistance. You can see this had a bit of a resistance right there on our weekly chart. But for now, when we're pulling it backwards, if we draw one more right here, right? It's up even higher. So maybe we'll be heading up to 300. We'll check it out. We will see. Yes, Fausto, that is true, because Microsoft and Apple, and here are the holdings for the SPYs, right? For the SPY, the top holdings. So when we look at it, the top holdings right here, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google, those are pretty much the same top holdings in the Qs. So if those major ones, now when we go back here and we look at the SPY holdings, all the way down to Visa, that's about the top 30% right there, just those stocks alone. So if the 30% is being dragged down, then that could really be painful to the entire market. However, right now, what would potentially be pulling back all of these tech stocks? If people are buying computers, people are, investing on online business for the software like Zoom. Zoom was probably one to check out going forward as well. That potentially it's not going to slow down, but it will increase. More companies are seeing that they can work with their clients or with their employees telecommuting. So it might actually even grow. But the market will decide. For now, we might have another little test right here too, 273, and then potentially on up to 300 up there. So we will keep it on watch. Let's check and see. Let's watch it and see. All right, let's go ahead and get into the watch list. So we go to Sunday. All right, we've got Microsoft again breaking out. It is a bit extended away. Right here, it came up, came down, and we have a nice doji there. It's not higher than normal volume, but we did not fill the gap back up here to 214.28. Came close. It went ahead, and the high of the day was 214.08. You can see it right here. So it does have some, maybe we'll see it test up here. Are we going to come back? Are we going to go sideways right here on Microsoft for a little bit? We have the earnings due to be announced on the 22nd of July, so we have time there. Apple, same, it looks very similar. However, we did go ahead and fill that gap up on Friday and close middle of the candle. If we're able to go ahead and take this high out, 385, I think we'll definitely see 389, if not 390. In my opinion, I feel like Apple is going to potentially be hitting 400 before we see that downturn. Because many times, once it breaks that 80 mark, it'll go ahead and go on up to that next round number, up to 400. All right, so let's get into the potential longs on my list. We do have PSMT, and this is 20.3 million in the float. This is the reason why I find it so interesting. Earnings came out, nice high volume doji, so we want to keep that on watch, right? We want to see where is it going to go from here. We'll tighten it up just a little bit more. This looked like it was a bit of a resistance in the past, so 62.50 and 64.20 for the resistance. All right, when we look back on it, we are hitting, it did have higher highs up here, you can tell. Let's remove this. It doesn't really have a cup and handle, kind of a wonky W, if you want to say that. But we did have, it broke above, maybe it's going to pull back to the averages and then surge up from there. Not sure. All right, and let's look at SJR. So Shaw Communications, a nice Canadian company here. Just had earnings, and the market seemed to like it. I'll add it on, G-Man. All right. So let's go into our 15-minute. Now, when we look at Shaw, it is a Canadian company, and it did have higher than normal volume, 846,000. It's not that high overall, normally about 500,000. So just keep that in mind for positioning, that potentially this might have lower volume than something that you are used to trading. So just keep it in mind with your position sizing. So I'm going to go ahead and put resistance at 17. It looked like as soon as it came up, it went ahead and broke down. It does have 454 million in the float. I'm going to put it back down here, 1650 as our support right there. You can see, look at that. It actually had a 1650 trade just before open on Friday, and then it surged up, and that's pretty much right where it closed it. So keep that on watch. We can also go here, draw a little trend line as well from the tops here. No, I don't want that. Let's undo that. Right, so it's the first day breaking that trend as well with higher than normal volume. So definitely keeping Shaw on watch. Oops, I'm filling out my spreadsheet over here. I said it was 454 million, right? I believe. I can look back up again. And 17. All right, so let me go ahead and add on MKL. All right, let's go next to SUP, Superior Industries. 3 crazy volume days. Normal average volume is 1 million, and we're up. We've gone ahead and we've cleared this resistance here. You can see it went ahead and pretty much created a support area here. We've broken above this 50 simple moving average. Potentially there was buying right here on the 50 simple moving average and this day as well. And now it's gone ahead and it's surged up to the upside. So keeping it on watch, potential squeeze as well, short squeeze. It does have 61% short volume from Friday. And let's put our resistance up here, 210 up here. That nice round number that will stick out in people's heads, right? So I want to see it hold that support of 180 and rip higher. You know, it might go ahead and test this previous high right here of 219. So maybe even 220. Go on up here, or excuse me, that was 213, 215. Go ahead and raise that up a little bit to 215 and see it clear. Then we might have a nice 20-cent move up there. 20 cents on a $2 stock will be a nice 10%. So even though it doesn't seem like a lot, you can go ahead and make nice moves for sure. However, you do have to position larger with the low float. It's not, excuse me, not low float stocks, but this one actually does have 23.4 million in it. But the lower price stocks, sub $5. And also something to remember about the sub $5 stocks is that many institutions are not in them because they're not allowed to hold stocks less than $5, and not all brokers will let you buy them as well. So just keep that in mind. GBX, Greenbrier companies, all right. Earnings, high volume candlestick right here, closed above our 200 simple moving average. Potential test to come up here. Maybe we'll see a $27 break, 27.50, 28, then 29, 29.40 area to the upside if it's able to go ahead and break up. So 24.20 for our support and 26.40 for resistance. Next, Netflix. What a beast. I totally missed this on Friday. Totally missed it. But look at that nice move that it had. I mean, it was pretty consistent all day. I'm trying to think, what was I doing on Friday that I missed it? I left my desk and went to the pool. So I had a great afternoon. So I'd like to go ahead and see that. I'll move this up here. And move this up here. You see how this was resistance, flipped to be support, and it bounced and it ripped up. So we want to see 541.50 hold as support and 556. I'm going to go ahead and put that next round number. Go ahead and give it the extra 12 cents above the 88. So let's change this here, because I would want that round number in my head. So I'm sure that many others do as well. But this has that earnings that's coming up again on the 16th this week, so do be cautious. However, this is likely a short squeeze. People thought they were going to go ahead and get in, shorted at the top. Best thing, wait for that confirmation that it's going down. Remember, the market is bullish overall. A lot of people, I feel, have been burned by this market. CULP, so potential short here. It just had dividends. It's starting to curl down. It did not close below the moving averages yet. However, it's on its way back down. Could potentially have that move to the downside. It does have 11.7 million in the float, so if it does creep on down, it could happen fairly quickly. and it might be harder to find shares to short. It does have more than 8 million, so therefore it is able to be optionable. However, I have not looked up the options myself, so I would not know if that's going to be a good or a bad choice for this one. So CULP, pretty much this candlestick right here was the range of the day on Friday with our support and resistance. If it does break down, would see a test of 916 and then on down to 890, 872 and 850. If we break that 850 mark, watch out. We will likely go on down, test maybe $8 and then on down to 775 right there. So we could see a $2 move to the downside on this one. Next potential short, I can't even say that. HTHT. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Huazhu. That's my attempt. Yes, that's true, Fausto. Fausto is saying it's something that only a select few can do well. If not, go ahead and stick to the long side. And the market is bullish overall. It's always getting money pumped into it by 401ks and retirement accounts. So you guys have to remember that, right? Let's go ahead and, oops, I was trying to draw a trend line again and I did it again. Let's remove this. Remove just this one. There we go. So we'll draw our trends here and so this is up above right at the moment. However, it looks like it might not be able to hold it. So going back on our, when we look at it on the day, it had that high right here. It broke below the upper trend line and it pulled back, bounced off this moving average, and now it's kind of right in the middle. So look for 36 as support and 36.60 as resistance. This one does have 290 million in the float. All right, let's go look at JCOM. So JCOM, big picture, I see a dreaded H. Ooh, not looking that good to me, right? So this might continue on down to the downside. Let's see if I scroll, if I roll it. Oops, I didn't mean to draw again. Let's go here. So JCOM, it does have earnings coming up on August 10th. So we have a good month away. It's in the internet sector, so it might have higher movement to it, but we had crazy, crazy high volume right here. And now we are below that, right? So we're way below that. This was the next highest volume. We are way below that before all this volume is up higher. This looks like, let's go ahead and go back to our 5-year chart. See, yep, we're hitting a support area right here where it had crazy high volume in the past, all the way back to March of 2016. So if we break below this, let's see, where's our next area? We could come down to 53.60, then potentially down to 52 from there. So let's go into our 15-minute chart. And yeah, Julia, I'll add it to the list. I'm not really a fan of AMD, but if it works for you, awesome. Okay, so our resistance line right here, 57.60. We'll move it up just a little bit actually. 57.70 up here. I really want to see it hold this support as a resistance area. If that's broken, it will likely squeeze those shorts. Oh, I don't want the horizontal ray. And 56.90 as our support down here. I'll pull it down just a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to put 56.80, that round number there. All right, so 56.80 for support and 57.70 for resistance. H&R Block. H&R Block also has a bit of that H, right? So keeping that in mind, it did have a nice run up on Friday, ended strong on the day, but it's still not looking that healthy. Look, we're testing that resistance right there for that $14 mark. It needs to go ahead and break that strong for it to continue to the downside. Potential move second wave down if it goes below 1360 right here. So 13, 16, and 14. And that does have 191 million in the float. When we look at it on the yearly, again, it's not looking pretty. All right, XRT. So I have XRT on here. XRT is heavily shorted. So let's go right here and go XRT. And you can see 83%. So this has massive, crazy short volume to it. It does have 6 million shares, so it's really low float, which is crazy. So it could be having a crazy short squeeze, or it could melt down going into earnings. You guys can see it a little bit better, that it does have a bit of an upward trend right here. That, I'll put it right on this one. Even over here, let's bring it right here. So we're right there at the edge, right? Are we going to go ahead and break to the upside above 45.25? I'm going to set an alert right there. Hey, if it breaks that trend line, we have a short squeeze potentially coming for XRT with 6 million in it, right? It does look like a bit of a cup and handle on the bigger time frame, right? It didn't pull back all the way 50%, not even 30%. So if we go back and we're looking at the depth here, this might be a crazy run up to 45 plus 18, $73? No, $63. $63.80 potential target if we break that level right here at the 45.35. So keep it on watch. Yeah, I'll check out Adobe. All right, so XRT, let's go look at it. Let's remove this cup and handle right there, and let's look at it. Let's see what we really want to check out. So again, that trend line, but for more of a day trade right here, I'd like to see it break down 43. I'm going to pull it back down just a little bit right here, 43.60 area. I want to see it break down below there or break above. It had big resistance right here at 44.10, the 44.20 area is where I'd like to see it break out. All right, Julia, I'll put RH on there as well. And I know that they went big time into the online furniture like Wayfair, and Wayfair has been killing it. So XRT, 43.60, and then 44.20 to the upside right there. All right, so now you guys have my potential swings we've got going on. EIG. Let's look back at the daily chart. Right? In that, you can see it might be testing this downward trend line. We do have earnings coming up. If it goes ahead and it runs up, it might have a nice run up to $32, $33 before it could pull back if earnings were to come out. So I would be cautious because we do have earnings July 22nd, but it could have a nice move if it breaks this trend line. So let's go ahead and add an alert right there and crossing up. We also have NWBI. So a bit of the same. This is in that banking area. So if we do have the banks doing really well, then we might see that this goes ahead and it will break to the upside. Right? We can draw a couple trend lines there. So first test potentially $10 mark. If it breaks 10 on up to 10.60, and then if it breaks 10.60, 11.70. NIO, the beast. The electric car beast from China. My one concern about this is, remember what happened with, what is it? What was the Asian coffee or Chinese coffee company that was supposed to be touted to be like Starbucks? And then they just got delisted. Do you guys remember? I don't remember. But that's my one concern in trading Chinese stocks, is that they could get delisted like this because they're not following the regulations to be listed on the exchange with their filings of their electronic reports. So I'm extra cautious with the Chinese stocks for that reason. Oh my goodness, I can't think of Lucan Coffee. Thank you so much, Julia. Yeah, so Lucan got delisted. It's off, no more. So if you had holdings in that, bye-bye, too bad, so sad, right? So just be careful with that. You know, don't throw everything into one of these thinking, hey, NIO is going to go and be crazy and it's going to turn out like a Tesla and be $1,500 now. Like, that could happen, but they might also be fudging the numbers, everything like that. Yeah, thank you, Marco. Yeah, you guys got it. So Tesla as well. Tesla's on my list. And let's go ahead and do a trend line here. So it did come back. It came back to the averages, like we were far extended, came back. It's a bit extended as well, but with the rate of incline, we might see it come back to 1470 and then go to the upside if we want to hold this trend line. If it pulls back, we could easily see a pull back to that 1330 area. You know, most extreme case is if it were to come back down to 1200 down here, then we could see that that might really have a crazy pullback to it. Doesn't mean, if we look at it on our weekly chart, right? You got to look at it on multiple time frames. How far away are we? Okay, if we come back to 1245 on a weekly chart, we're still in that upward trend. It's just a healthy pullback of $250. If it were to pull all the way back here, we might see a pullback even all the way down to 1085. Yeah, it seems like it's 50%, but it's coming back to those moving averages. You guys can see how, hey, look, it tends to ride those moving averages. So don't get caught up just on a 5-minute, 15-minute, or daily chart. Pull it back even further. See, if you were to go into something for potential longer term investing, look at all of the pictures. Don't just look at one time frame. All right, and I also had BABA here on my list for potential swings. BABA is a beast right now. We did have some dark pool activity on BABA. I do have a small holding in it as well. I got in back here at 240. This day right here, went ahead, got in, and then it pulled back. I thought, well, man, what am I going to give it? You know, I've got to give it some wiggle room because it is a higher price stock. And we were further extended away. And then it closed down on the day, and then boom, gapped up above. And is it going to be that same scenario? This does look very similar if you remember Microsoft and Apple when we were looking at it. Apple closed up just about here into the chart or into this candlestick on Friday, where Microsoft never closed that little gap and it pulled back and it closed just below. So BABA, if we think about it, this is somewhat like, let's also look at eBay, see how eBay is doing, if it's going to be a similar pattern. Yeah, eBay is similar, higher than normal volume, and we didn't fully reverse here. We do have a doji, so keeping that in mind, I would watch eBay as well. Earnings are on the 15th. All right. You guys gave me a couple you wanted to look at, so let's go ahead and check them out. All right, let's go down here. All right, so we have MKL, right? Markle Corporation. Let's draw our trend line right away. So it did have a nice breakout. I don't remember who gave me this shout out. I think this might have been Fausto. So we had a high volume doji right here. You guys can see a bit of a reversal with that. We went ahead, we closed above it. Fairly bullish trend. We broke above this trend line. However, it did not have higher than normal volume there. So we'd like for that to go ahead and break. In my opinion, I'd like to see this break that 21 EMA right there at 915.71 and continue on up to the upside. Let me put on a 24-hour chart and see if it closed above it. Nope, it didn't. All right. AMD. Let's see who was giving me AMD. Who was it? Julia. All right, let's see. AMD. So, you know, Julia, until it breaks one way or the other here, to me, it's continuing to just go sideways. So let me extend this. Settings, bring it. Usually it's about 300 here. Let's do 298. See, it's just trading in this channel. So when they figure out that direction, it could have a really crazy move. But for now, no thanks. Too bad, so sad. Don't really like it when it's trading between 49 and 57. But you might say, hey, you know what, that's an easy trade. I'm just going to go ahead and short it on down to 49 and then back up to 57. But we'll see. It had higher than normal volume when it tested this area, and it couldn't stay above that area right above. It's in this upward trend line right here. It is holding it at the moment. It broke this downward trend, and it's pulled back. It's in a normal pullback. But for my personal opinion, I would wait until above 58, because every time that it's come up there, it's pulled back. All right, I will check out Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo does have earnings on Tuesday, Terry, so keep that in mind. And Twilio as well. Okay, so AMD, Adobe. Adobe has higher than normal volume on Friday, had a nice strong close to it. So this does look fairly nice. Let's go into it and look at it on the daily. Let's look at this and see what as well for Adobe. What was our short volume? So 52% were long, reported to FINRA on Friday. Did have a fairly large closeout volume. You see that right there? So I would pay attention to that. Let me go on over here and I will see, in fact, what the closeout volume was, because that might be a really crucial level to watch when you're going forward with it. But for now, yeah, it's definitely, you know, it looks like every time it comes back here to this moving average, it bounces. So it might have a pullback to 458.41 before it continues back up, breaking up higher. You can see, hey, it came, it tested it once, twice, it hovered around there, 3 times, bounced up, and we might have had it. Yeah. So let's go ahead and look at live vol for the close, because that close volume is something to pay attention to. The last time we had really high close volume was down here, and that was 430. They've taken it up $30, so they might have a further move to the upside from there, or it might be placement before earnings, right? You got to remember that earnings is definitely coming up for a lot of stocks. So let's go over here, trades July 10th, market on close, 451,000 on close right here. And let's just look and see what it was on the 9th to give us some comparison. Yeah, on the 9th, we were looking at 188,000. So we definitely had about 3 times higher close volume. Maybe it was people just getting out for the week. You know, they rode that right on up through the week and they were getting out, they were closing out their position. It might be that that's a trend. The 26th, no, we haven't seen that much closing volume really in a long time for it. A bit on June 19th, so let me check over here. What do we have on June 19th for closing volume? Closing, we had 810,000. So keep it on watch, right? Where do we go from here? Well, we had a nice move, 423, and then as soon as it came back down here, we had big volume again on June 26th of another 812,000. So maybe those people are getting out. They thought, uh-oh, it's going to pull back. And now they might have entered a new position up here, and they're going forward. So we will see. You know, it's important to see where are we in relation to this close for the next week. Are we going to be below it? Are we going to go ahead and close below 458? That would be a mark for me that I would definitely be looking at for a potential move to the downside. It's $8 below. And then, of course, if we break out above 470, then that's going to be a pretty good bullish sign. All right, next one, RH. Let's go to our daily chart. Yeah, RH looks like it's primed. Actually, here, let me go ahead. Let's remove this. Let's just put some trend lines on it. See, it's not able to really break out of that upward from the tops. We've got more of a shallow trend right there. But yeah, this looks good. If it does pull back, to me, I would also like to see confirmation below 250, that nice round number if it were to pull back on the downside. And earnings, it looks like, are not coming up for a while now. Let's see. They had earnings on June 4th, so we'll be looking at June 6th, September 4th for their next round of earnings. But it was well received, it looks like. No, pulled back a bit. but then it came to that moving averages, and it's still in that upward channel, so, or upward ascending triangle. So keep it on watch for sure. Nice call out, whoever that was. All right, let's look at VISL. That was Julio. All right, VISL. Not one that I usually would be trading because it is so low priced. But you can see I obviously had it on a watch list in the past. And we have broken that trend right here. Had higher than normal volume, and the moving averages are starting to curl up. So it might have that, yeah, it had a first test right here at 74, pretty much. And next area, 79, 80 cent, and then 92, 91, 96, $1, and then on up here, 105. If it's going all the way up there, do you know the float for it? Let's go to VISL, stock, Wall Street Journal really quickly and check out, helps when you type it correctly. And it should go ahead and give us the float overall. Data not available. All right, so I would be super cautious on it. Let's see if we go if we go to our short squeeze, if it has a VISL, doesn't have it there. VISL, stock, float. Because it's so low in price, I'm curious to know if it's really low float. Let's see. Float is 87,000. That doesn't seem right. Let's go back here. Let's see. They think they had FinViz too. Let's go to FinViz and see what they say. Because sometimes if they do offerings, it will. So this says 82 million for the float right there. So yeah, it does have a little bit of higher than normal volume, and it broke that downward trend. But it might. I'm extra cautious with ones that are below $1. And UAVS, yep, same scenario. It's broken a bit of a trend right here from these candlesticks, and it had higher than normal volume, however, and it closed above this high volume right here. So I have no idea what they do. Aerospace and defense. If we were going to war, potentially one to look at. Last time you can somewhat see a pattern like that where it broke up was right here, and let's go quickly, UAVS, 28 million, so that's lower float, so that might move more quickly, and that's closer to $2. The higher price ones, you know, above $5, I prefer even more because the big guys can get into it. They can hold it on their books, and it's less manipulated by the retail traders, and even pumpers that are saying, hey, the stock is going to go to the moon, and then boom, it doesn't. All right, so this one's for Terry. We've got Wells Fargo here. So Wells Fargo does have earnings on Tuesday. We do have this trend line, right? And it did break above with higher than normal volume. So we are above that. We could see a little bit of stalling up here, 2607, 2632, 2660, and then on up to 28. Those would be potential targets if it does go ahead and squeeze shorts going into earnings. But I would be super cautious, and I would not personally hold it through earnings. All right, and Adobe. All right, so we've got Twilio. I don't know why I said Adobe. I was reading the chat and I was clicking on something else. All right, so Twilio, it's looking like it's riding that trend right on up, right? And it pulled back to the 4, which is fine. It does have a bit of a doji right here, and it looks a bit bearish to me though, because we've gone up and we've closed below it, right? We didn't go below the moving averages right here. Confirmation to me would be breaking the trend right here at 223. Earnings, oops, I keep doing that. Earnings for Twilio coming up in middle of August. So there's time for earnings. This week might be crazy. Again, we will see with the volatility with earnings that are coming out. You could potentially do strangle options. Going forward with Wells Fargo, you know, I wouldn't necessarily look at this week. I'd look potentially the next week out and then do maybe 28 and then be equal potentially, you know, with a strangle in earnings, you could potentially have big moves either way. So it's going to be the IV is going to be and the premium is going to be increased going into earnings, and then it will drop off that next day. So you could go up to 28, and then on that's going to be a $2.50 move to the upside. It could be equal, and then go on down to 23 to the downside. All right, Julio, work and FedEx. But you'll likely see the IV drop dramatically because of that with the earnings. All right, so work has strong resistance right here, it looks like, right at 34.40. And it looks like a bit of a W to me, if you guys see that. So we came down, hit the midline, came down, hit the midline, which tends to be a nice bullish pattern. If we do break above 34.38, it could have that gap fill on up to 37. So let's go over here and look at work. 61% short volume. And how has that been building? So you can see it was bullish from the 6th and then 7th, and then slowly shorts were adding in. The past 2 days they've really added in, and it might have that be just what it needs. If it were to open up above 34.40, 34.50, it could really squeeze them to the upside. All right, and FedEx. So you want FedEx above 35? Oh, work above 35. Look at the small flag. Right now, FedEx seems like it's, you see this trend, this EMA right here? Everyone says, Jane, you have so many. Look at that though. Do you see that it's not breaking that? I don't even need a resistance line there. It's not breaking that. I would be cautious on that, Julio, because look at how many days it's just hit this resistance, this EMA right here, and it's not able. If it's able to go ahead and close above 159.40, yeah, then they flipped, and those algos that are selling on it are probably flipped to be buying. But for me, looking at this, if I turn this off, let's hide this for a second. Can I go? I just want to hide it. You would say, oh, it's just chilling there. But when I turn that back on, you say, oh, okay, it's hitting this EMA, and there's some strong resistance there. So it looks like it's, until it closes above there, it sellers here, sellers here, sellers here, sellers here, sellers here, sellers here, for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. They might be laying a big position to go ahead and short this and drop it down to the 200 simple moving average. 425, Julio. Right? So if you didn't have that, you're just thinking, hey, it's just chilling out and it's stopping in midair, right? But you can see with that, it's kind of like, I'm going to wait until that proves that they're buying above it. All right, so NVIDIA. All right, guys, I'm going to do NVIDIA, and then I'm going to call it a wrap. So NVIDIA, it's still looking fairly bullish. It might have a bit of a pullback, right? So I had this on my list on Friday. It just sort of went sideways. It was like a no trade on Friday because it was up, it came down, and it didn't really have a big move one way or the other, right? So would like to see it go ahead and break down. I would like to see it break down to 410 and above 425 right here for NVIDIA. Well, Julio, just be prepared. If you know that if you see that it's going up, then it's going to go ahead and potentially squeeze. John Doe, please stop. I'm going to have to block you from my channel. All right. FedEx sellers, there is a building energy for a move higher. Considering the weakness in the DJT, when XLF gets going, likely everything follows. Yeah, if there's a short squeeze on the market, then that could really create a big squeeze up for FedEx. But like I said, looking at it on that daily chart, you're just like, oh, now I see a reason why. Let's go back and see how many times here. When did that happen? It happened end of December 2018. Is this going to be a similar pattern, right? December 2018, last time it was hiding out there, what did they do? Boom, right? How much of a drop did we have? If you want to look at rough targets, percentage-wise. Okay, it came down about 30% for FedEx. And that was when we had the correction of 2018, right? So let's go ahead and see. Where did we go when we dropped last time? This is kind of cool. Maybe this is going to be an indicator for what's going to happen to the market, right? We had a 44% drop this past February. So, and that was $70. What was the move down here? This was $70 roughly, $79, $80, right? So maybe we're going to go down to buy a crazy lottery put. Hey, are we going to go down another $80? Right? Are we going to go down $71? We'll call it that. Are we going to see $88 again? For, let's go 30%. 30%, we're going to be looking at potentially 110. Yeah, it does have that gap for sure. So it could be gapping. The only reason why I would say, like I said, that this looks potential short. Okay, last time that it hit it and it held there, it dropped. It's holding there now. Why? Why are they holding it there? You got to look at that too. Why are they just trading it sideways? It had a nice massive gap up and it is not able to break up. Many times on earnings, you'll see 3 days, it'll go ahead, it'll have that nice run up for 3 days, then they come back, they do the gap fake out to the bottom, and then they rip it higher. Well, this isn't that typical pattern. It gapped up, it's going sideways, it's hitting this EMA, and it's not dropping or going up right now. There's some sort of positioning that's happening on FedEx, right? So that's what I would look at. And let's go ahead and see, for fun, what day was the earnings? July 1st. So let me check and see. Maybe this is a good one to really keep on watch. Do we have any crazy volume? Nothing on the 1st. Nothing crazy on the 2nd. We have one. Watch 154.27. So we're above that now. And then we have some more at 158.56. So 158.56 and 140, what did I say it was? 154.27. So I would put that in, 154.27. Hey, if we go below, add an alert, 154.27. Let's do 154, crossing down, or 160, 160.50, crossing up. Then I don't have to babysit it. I'll let the chart talk to me. We've done our research, we've done our homework, and then we can go ahead and wait. Let the market tell us. Here's the thing, Julio, the market is irrational, so it doesn't matter what the indicators are telling you. What's the chart telling you? Where's the volume? As it had that massive gap up, likely shorts got squeezed, then they went ahead and bought. Somebody was selling to them at that price, and it's not breaking this moving average. Volume is descending, price action's going nowhere. We need to go ahead and see where it's going to go and let the market determine the trade for you. Don't overthink it. All right, guys. That being said, if you have anything that you'd like to see in my upcoming videos, go ahead and put it down in the comments. And welcome, MR Garcia. That's awesome. What is a good site to find calendars, upcoming earnings? All right, so we've got for Earnings Whisper right here is pretty good for your earnings. Right on Twitter, you can see they go ahead and they post stuff all the time. It's an awesome site. Dividend payouts, you can just, I would usually Google that. Many times they'll be announced at the time of earnings. Yeah, well, FedEx could be on watch for a couple of days. It might not go anywhere. Usually what happens, if you guys want to learn more too about the dark pool, come over to thedarkpools.com. I teach in there as well in the training pit. So come on over to thedarkpools.com, check out the training pit, and you guys can learn all about trading around the dark pool. Learn how we see things like that, how we're also going to read, hey, this is a moving average that it hasn't broken above. To me, potentially there's a computer and algorithm set up to go ahead and sell on that moving average. So I'm going to watch that. When we also go back and we look at the SPY, when we had our massive pullback, they came ahead and they used the 425, I want to say, on the weekly. Yeah, right here. You guys can see. So this is a moving average that the big guys are using. So add it to your chart. Check it out. All right. Have a great week ahead. Check out Monday and Friday at 1 o'clock for my live streams with Ticker Talker TV. We'll be reviewing stocks live as well as the SPY and the market as a whole. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of it. Bye, guys.